Hi, my name is Madeline. I go to Regent University and I'm studying government.
What is the physical trial that you would like to talk about today?
My broken arm.
Your broken arm.
Yep.
Okay. So can you describe that trial? How did it happen?
So I was going ice skating actually, not my level of expertise. And I went ice skating with some friends and I fell and I was like, I think my arm's broken. And so we went to the hospital and I got it x-rayed and it was my left arm and I'm left-handed. So, and I'm not a very athletic person. I do everything with my hands. I do calligraphy and I play piano and I draw and stuff like that. So I was just really bummed that it was my left hand and I wasn't gonna be able to do anything for 3 months. And so I was just I was a wreck. I was just sobbing and it was terrible. And then it was on a Friday, and then that Monday they told me that I had to come back and get a cast. And so I had the sling all weekend, and my family, we prayed for it, but nothing super crazy or hyper spiritual. We just prayed that God would heal my arm because we know He can. And then Monday we went to get the cast on, and they x-rayed it again, and the doctor pulls up the images. He's like, "See right there?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "We can see where it was broken, but it's not broken anymore." And so it was so cool. I was like, I know why it's not broken. I was like, that was God. And so it was just so cool to see His faithfulness. And it was during a season that I was pretty, I was a Christian, but I was still kind of closed off to Him, and more the emotional and spiritual relationship with Him. And so it was cool how even though I wasn't really letting Him in to my heart, He was I'll still get into your body, And so looking back, it's just so cool to see how He was so faithful and all of that.
So when you first found out, or when you first realized it,
Yeah.
what was going through your head? Was it instantly going to God, or
No.
was it kind of circumstances?
It was definitely circumstances. I wish I could say that I was, living my best life. God, I know you got it. But I was a wreck. I was crying so much because I was the only keys player from my church, youth group during that time period. And so I was I'm letting them down. Everything's going away. But, God was Maddie, hold on, wait 3 days. And so it was really cool to see that He was faithful, even though in the moment I didn't really have the faith to be God, you could heal this. Right then He was still going to heal me,
How did you get from the moment that you realized you broke your arm to then when they gave you the diagnosis of it being healed? How did you lead yourself into giving it to God?
Yeah. So once I went through oh my goodness, my arm's broken, we went home and it was just okay, this is what it is for the next little bit. So we're gonna have to learn to live with it. And so I was just God, I don't like this, but I guess this is what it is. So just help me to get over it and get over myself, because it's clearly I was you are gonna have a plan of some sort, even though I don't see how it's gonna work. And so I just my family and my parents saw that I was obviously very upset about it. And so they just we just prayed every night before I went to bed. We just God, we know you can heal this arm, help us to walk through this season of with grace and understanding that you have a bigger purpose and a bigger plan in it. And then I don't think any of us thought I would actually get healed. I think logically we knew that God could do it, but I think it wasn't necessarily in my heart that oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the doctor and I'm not gonna get the cast, But
did He give you any confirmation while you were injured, or was it kind of just completely by faith? I know this is what He can do.
yeah,
I'm gonna trust in that.
Well, so actually a few months before that, in that November, I had a lifelong medical condition, and I was it never went away, and I was just always prayed for healing. And it I would try to bargain with God, God, if you heal me, I'll tell everyone about it. And and I just wasn't getting healed, and I was God, please, whatever it takes, And that November at a youth conference, the guy who was speaking was hey, if anyone has a physical illness that they need healing for, raise your hand. And I was I don't want to raise my hand, because if I raise my hand, then someone's going to ask me what it is, and I don't want to talk about it, whatever. And then, but before I knew it, my hand was up. And so people prayed over me, and then I kind of felt it in that moment. I was I bet it's gone. And I waited 3 days again, before I told anyone. And sure enough, like, it was gone for sure. And it was cool to see how, like, in the moment that I broke my arm, I wasn't thinking about that situation at all. But looking back on it, you can see how, like, God showed himself to me through those times. And like I was saying, like, because I just wasn't letting him in any other way, you know, he was like, you're gonna let me in, you know, like, I love you and I'm here for you and, like, I'm pursuing you, you know. And, like, there's this one verse, actually, I was thinking about it recently, like Psalm 23, when it says his goodness and mercy are, like, following you. Someone told me recently, it's not just that, like, his goodness is around you, it's that, like, his goodness is, like, pursuing you, like, hunting you down, like, around every corner, no matter where you are. And just when I look back on that season of my life, like, that's what I see. It's just, like, his goodness was everywhere, and, like, I was just kind of too hard-headed to understand it in any other way than, like, physical healings.
What do you have to say to the person who's going through something physically challenging?
God can heal you. It's very basic, but, like, it's so true. I think it's hard because, like, before I was first healed, I was really frustrated when I would hear people talking about healing, because I was like, well, yeah, God can heal, but, like, he's not healing me, you know? And I think there's no, like, sadly, I wish I could look back and be like, oh, this is what I should have done. Like, there's a clear-cut answer. But I think just, like, continuing to trust God that he has perfect timing. And, like, even now, looking back on it, like, I still don't understand exactly why he chose then and, like, that season of my life to heal me. But God, like, I trust that God has perfect timing, perfect, like, obviously he does. And so I know that that was the perfect time that for me to be healed. And so I think if you're struggling with that, know that it's the same way for you. Like, God has a perfect time for you to be healed. And so I guess just rest in that.
Thank you, Madeline. I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, you too.